Welcome to the Peace Activation podcast, a space for real talk on healing, leadership, and conscious change. I'm Eva Dalak, founder of Peace Activation and your host. Each episode brings you insights and tools to help you live and lead from a place of inner peace. We explore how healing ourselves can transform how we lead, love, and live, and ripple that peace outward. Tune in, reflect, activate. Hello, Reggie.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. Wow.
I would like to pause and just kind of ease in to our conversation, right? So
Please do, yeah.
I invite you and whomever else may bear witness to this to find a posture in the body that is supported, spacious, and stable. This can be eyes soft or closed, or just not a wide open stare, something that's softer than normal. Maybe adjusting the shoulders a bit, moving the neck a bit, just to break up patterns of stress that come from overbooked and digitally focused lives. Feeling the weight of gravity as a connector to an embodied experience as opposed to a weight. Tuning into the peace and harmony, which are the baseline of the universe that we are conditioned to ignore. But at least in my case, once I'm tuned in, you can't take me from there. Spending a breath or two in this place of peace and connection and harmony and presence. And at the bottom of the next exhale, releasing the meditation, opening eyes if they've closed, drinking in the space from this place.
Thank you. Shukran. Wow. This is definitely what I needed. And I'm sure that the listeners as well. Wow, Reggie, what a beautiful way to invite us into your space, the space that you create.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Really, thank you. Deep, deep gratitude for this pause. And we teach at Peace Activation that peace is a capacity, and it is the capacity to pause. So I don't need to introduce Peace Activation. You just like took me straight into that. And it's so great. It's so great to be at the receiving end of
For
it.
sure. You're right.
And so I'm deeply, deeply grateful for you to bring me to our space together here.
Yeah, my honor. Like the name of my teaching practice is called Active Peace, and it's from the same premise that I can't bring peace in the world if I don't have it. And another part of, at least for me, peace is a disruption to programming. Right, we are programmed to be all over the place. When in fact, peace is just like, I mean, I do a lot of work with activist communities and political operatives, and I have a pretty unique portfolio. My job is to be like, okay, pause, stop, disrupt all of that, find what's true here, and then using discernment and discipline, go get it. You know what I mean? So like peace, active peace is designed to remind folks that when you have peace as your foundation, everything that emanates from that can be beautiful. Like peace and well-being can't be an afterthought. It has to. You have to be rooted in that. Absent that rooting, it's all a mess.
It's interesting because I say peace is not a destination. It's not something that we're heading towards. It's here and now, and
Mhm.
I love hearing that from your mouth, really. In Arabic, we say من بقك لباب السما, which means from your mouth to heaven's ears.
May it be
So,
so.
may it be so. Can you tell us a bit about who you are? Who is Reggie's active piece?
Mm.
Before the active piece, like how did you even get to the active? Or
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
what's
got I got to active peace through active chaos and self-destruction, right?
yeah.
I think a good place to start is that an identity that I have, but one that was also given to me, is that I'm in the United States. I live in and around Washington, D.C., which I lovingly call the occupied territory of Washington, D.C., because we're
Mhm,
under occupation from a government that does not represent the will of the people. And
mhm,
I have been in activism in some form or fashion for my entire life because I'm Black.
mhm,
And as a Black American male presenting individual, uh, the society which I call home, we built
mhm,
it, but it doesn't receive us. So
mhm,
there's a level of anger and sadness that accompanies the lived experience of most Black people. And so my response to that disillusionment was anger.
mhm,
And for the first part of my life, it was pretty good. You know what I mean? So I would fuel my anger into, self achievement. So I went to Yale University. In fact, my 30th year college reunion is this weekend. And
wow.
yeah, been out of college for 30 years. Oh my God. But I went to Yale and I was an existential philosophy major. So I think that that's another way to introduce myself is that I'm a thinker and
Mhm,
a deep thinker, and a deep thinker as an outcast in a society that people who look like him help build, right? So, like, I've always had this interesting perspective on things that I used to rage and rail when I wasn't heard because I wasn't speaking for the right reasons. I was speaking to be seen as opposed to seeing myself and then speaking from that grounding. So the shift that has taken place in recent years is I spent the last 20 years or so as an activist, so causing disruptions to bring peace, love, justice, and joy to more people than are currently served by government and other institutions. And that was killing me, Ava. You know what I mean? So bourbon and cigarettes and 20-hour days and all this other stuff, because I was so committed to bringing the vision that I hoped for in the world. And then luckily one day about 11 years ago, 12 years ago now actually, um, someone was invited me to practice yoga with them. And I had just received like a professional disaster. So I went for these two jobs in the Obama administration, called in all these favors and did all this stuff and made it to the top two for both jobs, didn't get either one. So that's like asking someone to marry them and them telling you no. So I was like, oh, damn. Whew, I gotta figure this out. I don't have a career in this anymore. And this friend of mine asked me to go to yoga class with them. And luckily for me, I had developed a mental checklist. I was like, I'm only going to do, because I was so heartbroken and pissed that I was like, I'm only going to do things that lower my blood pressure I've never done before and are kind of artsy. So there was a Dali exhibit on display in Washington. I was there every day. It was like artsy, Dali, got it. And when she invited me to go to this practice with her, I was like, okay, I've never done this before. I hear it lowers your blood pressure and it could be kind of artsy. And I went and tripped and fell into something that has just radically shifted my personal and spiritual practice. And that blessing has been that I have been able to look at the anger that I once held with compassion and use the suffering of being in those oppressive systems to help bring peace to more people.
A beautiful story. What a shift.
Yeah, right.
What a shift. It's so interesting because it reminds me. I mean, I arrived to spiritual psychology at the University of Santa Monica after like coming from a peacekeeping mission in Ivory Coast.
Oh, wow.
And that first night, I was like, "What are this white American? This is like such a bullshit." Like, what is this? Like, what am I doing here? But by the end of the practice of that weekend, I was like, oh my God, this is the real deal. Like,
Right on.
seriously, I was like, I spent 20 years of my life running around in conflict zone and peacekeeping mission. And here they're asking me to look at my conflict inside. And I was like, wow, what a shift. So yeah. There are key moments. And that was like 14 years ago as well. It's like this key moment, formative moment that kind of like shift your whole perspective.
Like that.
And kind of like you were meant to do that.
For sure.
You know?
I agree with that because there's the only way that I would have said yes to yoga and meditation is because I was an existential philosophy major who had devoted his whole being in one direction, rooted in anger, reflectively. It was like, this is killing me. And then was this like, so in this heartbreak, I recognized the spiral of destruction. So what can I do different about that? Then tap into this system, which is predicated on all of that. I was like, oh, there is this millennial old spiritual system that is, oh, right. So totally plugged into that. And to your point, once I was rooted in that, the fruit that has been born from that tree is pure.
Beautiful. Yes. Can you tell us more about the fruit that came out of this tree?
Yeah, so I tell people all the time, I'm the most accidental yoga and meditation teacher that you ever met. Like
Yeah.
I used to mock this stuff,
Yeah.
like, hey, everyone, talk in a voice that no one can understand. And I would just talk like that, just mocking them. I was like, y'all ain't helping the world, right? This is so it's narcissistic and like self-interested. I don't have time for this shit. And so like that's the orientation that I
Yeah.
came to it.
Similar here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
then
can hear that.
the pandemics hit, and I responded peacefully, honestly. Like I remember the day vividly. It was March 13th, 2020, when at least in the States, I was in Colorado at a yoga retreat or yoga teaching retreat, and everyone was freaking out buying all the toilet paper in these supermarkets, and I'm like, why are you buying toilet paper for a respiratory ailment? Like just cover your face and don't take deep breaths in other people's face. It's super. So that's how I was. But everyone else is freaking out. And I was like, like you're at peace when everyone around you is in distress, whatever. And so I just kind of brushed it off. And then all of a sudden people were like, Reggie, when are you going to teach? When are you going to teach people? When are you going to teach people? And, when one or two people ask you that, you can kind of brush it off and ignore it. But when like 13 people from different sources ask you that, that's not them asking you. It's something else. And so I ignored all of them, as most people would, whatever. I've rationalized not doing anything. Then Ava, this group of youth who have been impacted by gun violence asked me to teach them meditation. And I used to teach youth, and they did, so I'm just like, I looked at the sky. I was just like, I can't say no to kids. I could say no to adults because I'm kind of a hermit, right? I'm just like, whatever, leave me alone. But these kids, Reggie, can you teach us meditation? Damn it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a mission-driven life, Reggie.
Yes.
That's a mission-driven life. This is like
Yeah.
you were born for this.
And then teach these kids, and then so I get out of my own way, and I was like, well, maybe I should teach folks. And I sent this thing on social media, and I was just like, look, if I were to hypothetically start teaching next weekend, we're all stuck in our house. Would anyone have interest in this? And like there was like this whole yes, and I was like, well, What more of a
Okay.
sign do you need, dude? Like you're totally being like a punk. Like just go for it. And so I launched
Mhm.
Active Peace in April 2020 to serve the needs of the people during the pandemic for connection and processing like distressing experience because like I've been through so much um, spiritual practice, but also personal experience. I've had so many things that have yielded discernment and have
Mhm.
created conditions. Like you said, peace is a capacity. I've had enough adversity to yield practice for capacity
Mhm.
and have been able to digest all of this stuff and give it to people in a way that's helpful.
Yeah.
So I've studied all the wisdom. Shit, I went to Yale. You know what I mean? Like I've read all the big books by the big authors, and I also know from going to Yale that a lot of people be talking in ways that don't reach people. So like when you
Yes.
have a Yale education, but most of my career has been as a grassroots activist, I take Ivy League wisdom and distill it in language for the people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's
100%.
kind of how it came about.
Amazing. How did you get to the active peace, like the title even?
Yeah, right. So
Why
that's
did you
fun.
call it active peace?
Well, funny story. The first name of the practice was
Mhm.
Active Chill because I was like, people are freaking out and they need to chill.
Mhm.
And it was like that was the name for like a day or day and a half. I did some research on it, and Active Chill is the name of a sneaker from Reebok that was discontinued. So as someone who wears a lot of Adidas, I was just like, I can't be associated with Reebok, much less a discontinued brand. So a little bit of vanity. But I was like, so what is if it's not chill, what is it? And then I thought about my response to the coronavirus pandemic, that I was super peaceful. And
Mm.
people were like, you're super peaceful. So I was like, if it's not active chill, then it's active peace. And
Yes.
it,
Love it.
one of my critiques of the yoga industrial complex has been, oh my goodness, I'm so at peace and I'm just going to keep it to myself. Who is that helping? So like if
Mm.
you have a sense of peace and do nothing with it, then I
Mm.
believe you're a charlatan. But
Mhm.
you have to take the peace and the capacity that you have and do something with it.
100%. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially in times, and we thought that the coronavirus is going to be the worst of our fears. Like in
Yeah.
times such as that, you had to bring peace into the world. People are
Yeah.
distressing, people are
Mhm.
drinking, and, loneliness and all this other stuff, stuck in their
Mhm.
house, don't know what to do. Like I'm a bit of a hermit, so I was excited. Like people, oh, I get to stay in one place for months and be away from people. Sign me up, right?
Mhm.
But I knew that a lot of people don't have that orientation. So I just tried to help people from my place of peace, at least create
Mhm.
opportunity to create theirs.
Beautiful. Thank you, Reggie.
Mm.
Yeah, I resonate. It's so interesting to hear and think the parallel path that we both have around this peace. For me, it's peace activation, and I think that if it wasn't for Palestine, I would have definitely not created that peace activation. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing as for you, the youth kicked your butt and like do something about that. And for me, that's what the genocide in Gaza did. It's like do something about it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
kick my butt and like because I've been running away from the the situation, conflict, crisis, whatever you want to call what's
Sure.
been happening since 1948 in my hometown and really going around the world in many, many, many conflict zones, more than 22 conflict zones, just don't get me do anything in my home because it was too close to home.
Sorry.
Was like,
No,
you're
right.
kidding. This is like where all my triggers and anger and injustice,
Yeah.
like that's not what I'm gonna do
Yeah.
any
I'm not interested
peacekeeping,
in that.
I'm not
Right.
interested in that. I need to go and deal with other people's shit.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
And and for me, and that's where peace activation comes because it's like It's no peace if you're not able to sit with your trigger. I'm going to trigger you. Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's have this hard conversation. Let's
Right.
say your story and hear my story. It's like none of us is going to deny the existence of the other. And so it's really interesting how this we were born to do this.
Right.
And I really mean it, like we each individual, not just like the two of us. I think
No, for
each
sure.
individual has this mission, this life purpose. And unless we are, when we meet that mission, heads on, it sparks everywhere because that's what we're meant to do. It's to be at service and do something meaningful with our life.
Yeah.
And
And
when we are
yeah.
in that right seat, for you active yoga and for me peace activation, that's where we can really amplify what we're doing. And I
And
find that it's so beautiful.
the amazing thing that happens, to your point, is that I ran away. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. And then I'm finally like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then it's as if, ancestors in the universe and everyone were just like, yeah, duh.
It's about time.
Yeah, but we've been waiting for you.
I know.
Damn it. Right. And so all these things.
It's about time.
Seriously, just like, thank you. Like, at least you're still alive to do something with it. Yeah. So the second that I got over myself and got out of my own way, opportunities for service created themselves. And those opportunities for service have yielded not just financial benefit, which of course is to some extent important. It's just yielded transformational life benefit, right? You know what I mean? Like I've helped through me creating deep peace within myself. I have been able to have so I'll give you an example. I work with this place in Massachusetts called Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health. And they recruited me in 2022 or 23, one of those years, 2022 actually, because I'd bust onto the scene. So Active Peace gets started in 2020 and just like is out there. And, because there aren't that many Black dudes, like whatever, this just who speak the truth and have an activist background. I used to work for Move On, and one of the highlights of my activist career is helping organize the first impeachment of Donald Trump, and that fire meeting the peace of spiritual practice, in these places where people have their cultures of exclusion. I'm just like, that means nothing to me. I've been an outsider my whole life. So whatever. So Kripalu reaches out to me and they're like, we'd love to work with you. And I was like, I don't really, thank you, but I don't really see a lot of diversity with y'all. Like, why would I want to work with you? Like, I'm Black and I work with everybody, but only thing I see that's Black here is the nighttime and the concrete. So why would I be interested in hanging with you? And they were like, we'll help you do anything. I was like, anything? I was like, help me heal Black men with your money. And they said yes. And 6 months later, this healing retreat for men of color comes to shape called Permission and Refuge. And to your point earlier that you were meant to do this, like that came about because I'm in this place and they asked me a question. So the activist in me gets a little snarky and it was, oh, you want to help me do anything? Help me heal Black men with white people's money. And they said yes. And I'm like, oh, what? And so the ancestors are like, yeah, smart ass. Like you thought they were going to say no, but they said yes. So get to building.
That
program is now 3 years old. It is now funded by them. They're endowed scholarships for the program. And 100 people have been through this program, ranging in age from 21 to 83. Queer and trans and cis, like all expressions of masculine identity have come together for healing and liberation. Like, all because I was a bit of a jerk.
All because Spirit met you at the point of action.
Yeah.
Spirit meets you at the point of action, and you dare to ask that request that seems like impossible for you, and they're like, yes, You want that
Hmm.
yes. And it's that yes, it's that daring, it's this courage to have to dare to ask for what we really want to do in life. That
Yeah,
what we
right.
know is our mission. For you, it's like healing masculinity in the Black community, which is like amazing.
Hmm.
How more at service can you be for your own community? And this is similar for me and my own community, and for many others, because I feel
Right.
like spirit meets us at the point of action,
I
but
love that phrase.
we need to do two steps. One is move yourself out of the way. It's what you
Exactly.
just said, and dare to ask. I think
Yeah.
without this, spirit is like, I'm here, dude. I
Yeah.
want to help you, but you need to take an
Yeah,
action.
and I can do anything.
Yes,
I'm of another realm, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
The things that you in your realm find impossible, I'm beyond that. So
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, to your
yeah.
point, like that was a key lesson for me in that
Mm.
I thought I was talking out of turn. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
help me,
Yeah.
I probably even said my face
You
like
were
this.
challenging. Yeah, you were
Yeah,
challenging
right.
them.
Yeah, and that challenge was the key
Yes.
that
Yeah.
unlocked all of this.
Yeah.
That's
Refuge
wild.
and permission. I mean, I want to go back to this title.
Hmm.
This is Unlock Refuge and Permission. Can you say more about, because it brings together two such an important concepts.
Yeah, so
Tell us more.
permission and refuge is purposeful in like the title, because most men of color, regardless of how you identify, your orientation or whatever, do not have permission to be who they are in the world, right? So like the invitation is for folks to come to this place and just be. Like no masks, no agendas, no hustle. Just be. You have permission to do what you need. So that even means that, the curriculum is somewhat light, because if you need to rest, you have permission to do so. If you need to take a hike and be in nature, you have permission to do so. I'm not going to, the only thing I ask is that folks show up on time for closing circle. Like, and during the week, I don't care. Like, you can miss the meeting. I really don't care. You have permission. And refuge, like I, as a facilitator, am holding a safe enough space that if anyone comes at you on some craziness, Papa Bear is going to take them out. With love. But yeah, like I will bear claws and dare you to touch my family. You know what I mean? And you are safe enough to explore these different things. So I also, it's very yogic and very meditative, but I call it a healing retreat. I don't call it a yoga retreat. Because men will be like, yoga, well, like I am aware enough of the psychological games that men in the American paradigm play with themselves. I'm aware of
Mm-hmm.
those games. So it's not a yoga retreat. Like, you don't even have to come to the meetings, man. Like, you just have to come to the event. And like, if you don't have money, like, we'll help pay for you. Like, you just got to get here. Like, once you get here, everything's paid for. So now what's your
Mm-hmm.
excuse?
Yeah. Do
You
the
know?
work. There's no excuse to do the
Right.
work.
Yeah, you just got to
Do
get
the work.
here. Like,
Yeah.
we
Mm-hmm.
feed you, you got, but like everything else is taken care of. Like, just get here.
Mm-hmm.
And that challenge has been very powerful for a lot of guys, because they've never had this one guy was like, man, I didn't know if I wanted to be on earth anymore until I came to
Mm-hmm.
this. And now I know who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
I now get paid to be myself. Because I asked him when he came to the first retreat, like I was like, so what do you want? He's like, I want to be paid to be myself. I was like, and what's stopping you? I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it
Mm-hmm.
is possible for melanated
Mm-hmm.
men to be paid to be themselves. Like, you just have
Yeah.
to divest yourself from the poison of the oppressive structure. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
you're a divine being of your own right, not because of a system that seeks to exclude you. Like, in fact, you will
Yeah.
never find peace in that system. You find peace in yourself and then create the system that you want to be a part of. They were like, oh, I'm like, yeah, trust me, it took me 30 years.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that sentence I just shared with you in 20 seconds, it took 30 years of life experience to come
Yes,
together.
but that's the journey. It is the
Hmm.
journey. We don't wake up awake. We
Yeah, no,
wake up and
right.
sleep, and then we spend like 30 years to get back to point number one. And you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm here to do that. I mean, I remember when I left Israel at the age of 19, left to study in a law school in France. And
Hmm.
if a friend told me, what do you think your mission in life is? And I'm like, to spread love. And then
Oh,
I thought it
wow.
was so stupid. And I'm like, oh, I mean, like fight justice and be a lawyer and an activist. And here I am, like 33 years later, and I'm like, oh my
Spreading
God,
love.
it is to spread love. You know what? I did this whole journey to come back to the one mission I knew already then, but I didn't find it legitimate. I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
find
for
it,
sure.
you know, I found that it wasn't serious enough. And it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting to your point that you're like, this is a healing retreat. It's not a yoga retreat. And we were just discussing today, we have a retreat next week in Greece. I mean, this
Hmm.
week, actually, at the end of this week. And with my team, we're like deciding what to put on the stickers. And
Mm.
one of the team member put healing. And I'm like, we don't put healing. We put like peace activation. We put like peace is a capacity. Like we're not doing healing. And it's funny because I constantly say healing might be the outcome of what we do,
Hmm.
but we're not doing healing. You're doing
Hmm.
work. You're
Hmm.
working, like you're allowing yourself to go through this wounding that you took for identity,
Yeah,
because
right.
you are not your wounds.
At
And so
all.
you would need to drop them. You would need to drop these wounds to be able to activate peace. You don't even need to find peace. Peace is around you. Peace is
Absolutely.
here.
Hmm.
And that's the peace activation. It's like we can just activate something that is already here and that we have forgotten that it is here.
Absolutely.
And we have allowed others to program us and condition us into violence,
Absolutely.
into hating each other, and to
Shame,
that,
scarcity.
to
Right.
shame, doubt, blaming. And
Yeah.
so to that, I want to come back to this our initiative, which is calling men to peace. And I
Uh-huh.
want to share a bit of background around that, and why we came to that is that we noticed that most people, or most participants that are drawn to this peace retreat or things around peace, are women.
Yeah.
You can have big names of men, vulnerable men, amazing men, but the majority of the participant would be women. And I'm like, where are the men?
Hmm.
How much can we build the capacity of women to activate peace if their partners are not there? And
Right.
one thing I learned when I was working especially in Africa, actually in Congo and Burundi and Rwanda, and we were doing a program around violence against women, I kept saying, it's great that we're building the capacities of these women to protect themselves, but unless we're changing the capacity of the man that beat them, she's as empowered as she is, she's gonna go back and he's gonna beat her.
Yeah, man.
And so, what
Right.
are we doing for these men to make sure that they're included and they're transformed? And so, that like 30 years later, I come back to the same conclusion like, what are we doing for men? And how can we actually increase man's capacity for peace? And where is the challenge? What has been your experience or your insight around this question?
So one of the challenges of this work writ large, and this is global. So the I also have an interesting experience. Like I've lived in Brazil. Like I speak decent Portuguese and Spanish. I went to graduate school in Belgium, right? So like I lived in Leuven, in Ixelles. And so I've lived around the world. So I've seen all different aspects of masculinity. And there is a glorification of emotional suppression. There is a glorification of not being vulnerable. There is a glorification and almost a worship of material accumulation as substitutes for connection and caring and compassion. And because the reward system that I just articulated has not been exposed, many men across the world are trying to be excellent at a game that hastens their self-destruction, especially spiritually and emotionally. So what I have tried to do is that the blessing of my lived experience, especially, being all over the place, being an activist, like I said, it's a very masculine response. Oh, you want to help me? Like, that's a very masculine kind of response. Is that men respond well to loving challenge. So, for instance, the dude who I told you about, who was basically like, my life, I didn't know what I wanted out of it other than I wanted to be paid to be myself. He thought that my retreat was like BS. And I had to be like, if this retreat's BS, then why are you here? Like, if it's BS, then that means you a little bit of BS because your ass left New York. Right? So he challenged me. I challenged him with love. And now he loves the retreat. Is like our biggest ambassador in those sorts of things. So the reason I'm so out loud about like the work that I do, and the reason that I'm kind of brash with my my brother said to me recently, Reggie, why do you cuss so much, man? Like, you went to Yale, you've got all these other words. I was like, some people need the brash, right? When I'm in a book club or something, then I can be refined and I can do all that other stuff. But some guys need this energy of, hey, yeah, you. I'm talking to you. You think this peace stuff is soft? My peace of mind and my meditation practice helped me survive a stroke. So if meditation is for weak ones, then I'm weak as hell.
Yeah. This, like, just earlier on, again, with brainstorming around sentences, one sentence that came to me was, soft is strong.
Yeah, right.
To be soft is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been told the story of soft is weak.
Absolutely.
We have been giving values to violence, to suppression of emotion, versus softness and connection and self-regulation, and that's what we're coming back to. Actually, this is the journey of life is a return to love, because ultimately that's what we're all longing for, consciously or unconsciously. That's what we're longing for. We're longing for this connection to the mother, to the father, to what brought us here. And mother, father, not necessarily of our own parents, but even the divine father and mother, and the divine that is within me. And so if I'm not accepting that I am divine, how can I accept the divinity in you?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So such a beautiful journey, Reggie. It's like, I'm so excited for all the potential of what we can do together. I'm just like, my brain is like, really present to that.
The cool thing I'll say too is that I feel as though right now specifically, a lot of people such as you and I and others have been doing this work, and you feel, I know I felt like, am I the only person on this entire planet that cares about like creating conditions for healing and liberation? Like, am I the only person that sees
No, you're not. Yeah.
peace as essential? And there conditions have been created where people of similar mind are coming together, having conversations, inspiring this and all this other stuff. So that leaves me, that I'm very excited about that.
Me too. And
we're no longer in the wilderness.
We're not, and we're calling the tribe. I feel like really we're gathering the troops, for lack of a better term. We're gathering the troops, and when I hear about I want to heal Black man, immediately the thought in me, I want to heal Arab men. I want to heal my brothers. I want to heal my brothers. I want to heal my cousins. I want to heal my community, and somehow all the work that has been done up until now, up October 7, actually has been like, let's bring Palestinians ready together to do a retreat together, to do dialogue together, to create a project. I'm like, can we like leave them alone and actually deal each community has its own trauma without us competing on suffering and
Yeah.
competing over whose trauma is bigger.
Right.
Like, can we like remove this two party, this polarization,
Right. The
and
competition. There's not a
competition for
competition.
suffering. This
Yeah.
is not a competition for suffering.
No.
This is not a competition of who has better trauma or bigger trauma or
Yeah, right.
long trauma. Like, it doesn't matter. What matter is like, can we actually deal and heal within our own community and just like face? And it's the same. It's a reflection of healing the within. Can I
Yes.
deal with what I have inside of me, so that I'm not projecting it on you and blaming it all my shit on you and
Yeah.
saying it's you, 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 you. And for me, there's such a we're in a precious time that is giving us this opportunity, even
Hmm.
despite the chaos and the crisis, and we're going through turbulent time, and we are on the verge of huge opportunity for really transforming not only ourselves but the whole of humanity,
I believe
the
that.
consciousness. And I really deeply believe that. And this type of conversation like that I'm having right now within this calling man to peace is really encouraging for me, because it's like,
Hmm.
yes, there are partners out there. There's partner for peace, like
We're
if I say it's
trying,
like,
man.
oh, there's no partner for peace on the other side, I'm like, yeah, but are you a partner for peace? Don't
Right.
look at the other side. Be you. I
Yeah.
am going to be that partner for peace for myself. And
Hmm.
because I am partnering with myself to be a partner for peace, I'm going to show up differently with you.
For
When I'm
sure.
going to be triggered, I'm not going to blame you. I'm going to like be in this hard conversation, and I'm going to speak my truth. And I'm going to
Right.
stay while you speak your truth. And we're
Mm.
not competing over whose truth is really the truth, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Reggie, is there a question that nobody asked you and that you
Mm.
would like to give an answer to?
What a beautiful invitation. Sure. It's not that I've never been asked this question. It's that I don't think it's asked enough in the context where we find ourselves. And it's derivative of what you just talked about. So I'll be 52 on my birthday,
When is
at
your birthday?
October 5th.
Whoa.
So I'll be solidly in my 50s. And when I talk like this, people get upset. But like, I had a stroke 2 years ago. Like, I'm in middle age, right? This thing is winding down, like maybe not immediately, but it's winding down. And so my focus on life these days, and this is the question, is like, what seeds will you plant for the future? What seeds are you planting for the future? Right? Like, I know that the world that I yearn and hope for, I may not see, but I may not see it here with these eyes and this visage, but I may see it in my head and my heart. Like, one of the things that so active peace yoga, it's active peace. There's a yoga, then there's a speaking, then there's a music. There's all these other aspects to it. But we've got Martin Luther King, Jimi Hendrix, and Prince are the holy trinity of active peace. And in Are You Experienced, Jimmy says, trumpets and violins, I can hear in the distance. I think they're calling our name. You know what I mean? Like, so what am I hearing? That's the future. I was at the Omega Institute last week. I kicked off their year by training their staff. So it was like a wisdom session, like a fireside chat with Reggie Hubbard. So it was like Uncle Reggie, like dispensing life wisdom. And then I started playing gongs and sound bowls for them. So like cracked open their mind, and then with the sound, like blew open their heart. And then at night, we did a Prince practice. So an hour and a half dedicated to Prince with like sound bowls and like this wild experience. In the course of that day, one woman asked the founder of Omega Institute, what are you seeing for the future? And she's like, I don't know, but I don't have to know. Ava, I was in the back, like, see, that's the thing. Like, y'all are looking for the next Ram Dass. Y'all are looking for the next Thich Nhat Hanh. And what I see as the teacher of the future, the activist of the future is this. Like,
Yes.
not the big name, but the network, right? So
Yes.
who do you inspire through your conversation? Like, I
Yes.
don't need you to keep coming back to active peace. In fact, I don't teach that often. Like, I teach here and there. But every time you come, whoever comes gets lit up. And then you go light up your community. That's what I think
Yeah.
the next teaching paradigm is like. So instead of,
Yes.
everyone come to this, no, we may meet again, we may not. But like in this moment, you are getting all of this wisdom, you're getting
Yes.
all this sound, and I'm going to just like shock you basically into a taste of your full self.
Yeah. And that's what I call peace activator.
Absolutely.
We're no more peace activists. This is like the paradigm that I'm
Right.
proposing. It's like stop being peace activists because we don't need to fight for peace. We don't need to
No.
run for peace. We are just need to act to
Yeah.
shine the light on myself and on others.
Yeah.
And one of the key things actually that peace activation took upon itself as a movement is to train these peace activators so
Mhm.
that they can be in every single place in the world. We are peace activator in Burundi, in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Palestine, in Israel, whoever is interested to get the methodology that really encompasses, you talk about a journey of 30 years of your experience that brought you to active peace, similar to peace activation. Peace activation is the distillation
Yep.
of the conflict transformation, spiritual psychology, trauma responsive leadership, feminine wisdom, and somatic integration. This is what allowed me now to be able to sit in my trigger and be at peace, regardless of what's around me.
Totally.
Doesn't matter what happened. I am that peace that I want to invoke. And
Mhm.
that's what I see, and that's what I wish for everybody, because we don't need
Absolutely.
another Ramdas or we don't need another leader. We are leaders.
Right.
We're all our leaders and activators. And one of our running jokes in Palestine is like, Palestinian, we have so many leaders that there's no followers. And that's why we
Mhm.
don't have a country. And we're
Right.
still under occupation.
Right.
Part of it's a joke. But
Right.
in a sense, it's like I think the whole when we're speaking about free Palestine, we're speaking about free the world, free our all of our mental concept from this conditioning that someone else need to guide us, tell us, do, versus us gaining back our power and our sovereignty.
Absolutely.
And really, let's free ourselves, and Palestine will be free. You know.
Right. I mean, and that's one of my favorite scriptures in the Christian tradition, is in Romans, where it says,
Mhm.
be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind."
Mhm. Aho, as we say.
Right. So
Yes. Yes.
not your conditioning is the tool that got you to the opportunity for you to have the awakening. Now
Hmm.
have the awakening,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid of it, because on the other side of, and I know this from my experience with stroke, is that when I had my stroke, I was devastated, was paralyzed, and the Grim Reaper and I got very close for a couple
Mhm.
hours. However, having survived that experience, like the wisdom and power that I carry now,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like so the people may be disheartened by what they see now, but this is an opportunity to see clearly the things that you've been avoiding. Right. The stroke
Yeah.
was, a lot of it was my fault. And so I see clearly and make better decisions based on the clarity of sight that I have now. And that creates opportunities for healing, liberation, and transformation, which yields peace.
Hmm. Absolutely. Can you say more about the stroke? Do you want to say more about the
Yeah,
stroke?
so April 1st, 2024, I had a
Mm.
parietal lobe stroke on the right side of my brain, which impacted my left leg and foot. Left leg was gone for about a day. Left foot was gone for like 6 months. And so I had to learn how to walk again, had to learn how to balance again. And to the point that we're talking about here, the totality of my recovery was touching the wellspring of deep peace within and then bringing
Mm.
that out.
Mhm.
So I made
Yeah.
peace with the stroke and found the stroke as my friend and as my teacher. And from that connection with stroke in peace as friend and teacher, I got serious about diet, got serious about all these things that I've been avoiding, got serious about my genetics, right? Like learning more about my particular genetic makeup. And that chaotic experience, I was able to navigate from a deep peace.
Yeah.
And to our point here, the peace that I wanted to be in the world, I had to activate, like from within, right? Like I had to make peace with the fact that I almost died. Like I had to make peace with the fact that there's a part of this that was my fault. I had to make peace with the fact that there's a part of it that wasn't my fault. Like I had to make peace with all these different things. And what that has done is made me kind of fearless. People are like, why do you talk so much about it? I was like, because there are millions of people that have strokes and they have no hope of survival because no one is talking about survival. Right? So I talk aggressively about survival so that you can have hope, and maybe that activates like a peace or a transformation cell within you. Like no one was giving me any good news, so I had to create it on my own. So that experience, I think, has been formative for the message that I have in life now. Like I said, this thing is ending. It's always ending, but every ending is a new beginning. So I'm grateful for the stroke because it brought an end to like some ignorance and some habits and some conditioning that was no longer serving the mission I now have.
Yeah, 100%. And what comes to mind is like it's the left, the heart, and it's really activated the feminine wisdom that is within you to that point. And I went through 2 years of total blindness where I didn't see. So talking about vision, clarity of vision, I tell you what I see now was definitely not there before I lost my vision. So I feel every one of us go through this initiation. I want to call it, is an initiation.
That's what I said.
For our mission. Yeah, it's an initiation. It's really an opportunity. It's a crisis that brings danger, but it's also bringing opportunity. And this opportunity, if we grab this opportunity for our transformation to become the person that we were always meant to be and that we kept running away from. And now it's like, no, Spirit is meeting you at the point of action and it's about time. Reggie, thank you so much for the wisdom. Thank you for showing up, like not only for this show, but also for your life and for the mission that you're now carrying. It's such a blessing to be in alignment with what you came here to do. And for me, as a parallel partner, with peace activation and active peace, and really we're gathering the troop and gathering all the collaborator to call men to peace, because we need to really come together, not as separate women and separate men or separate any other gender. Is everybody, just like your description, it's like everybody is welcome in this space. We're not holding a space for peace. We are that space for peace. So blessed be. Thank you so much.
Honor to be here. Peace be upon you and peace be upon all who hear us.
Inshallah. Shukran. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, for listening, for feeling, and for holding space with us. If this episode moved you, please support the Peace Activation podcast by subscribing, sharing it with friends, or posting about it online. Every ripple counts. We'll be back next week with another conversation that dives deep into what it truly means to activate peace within and around us. To support the vision behind Peace Activation, visit peaceactivation.org and follow along on social media. You'll find both Peace Activation and me, Eva Dalak, across all platforms. Find all of these links in the show notes. Until next time, may you meet yourself and others with peace.